And coming back here at home, revisiting the crime statistics released yesterday, there are shocking figures that show crimes against women and children have gone up during the period that was highlighted. 64 more women were murdered, while there were 82 attempted murder cases, with another 398 being victims of assault with intent to do grievous bodily harm compared to 2020. Now, the number of children murdered increased by 69, attempted murder by 36, while 61 more children were victims of assault with intent to do grievous bodily harm. To speak more about this, Professor Naheemah Abrahams is Director of the South African Medical Council's Gender and Health. A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for speaking to us. I want to start with a comment that you made, that the role the media plays in reporting a femicide or gender-based violence is very important. You say the media influences how we perceive this and victims of femicide, and particularly who the perpetrators are. Can you please explain this?
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me, Chapiso. Yes, the media do play a very big role in how the community and society understands femicide. And very often the media do report the high-profile cases. They're also more likely to report cases that are not that does not happen in the home. It reports more. They're more likely to report femicide cases where a stranger is involved. However, from the work that we've done, we know that the women are more likely. Women in South Africa, when they are killed, they're more likely to be killed by an intimate partner, by somebody that they know, somebody who is who they're married to, they have relationship with. So the media, we have got such a big problem of femicide in the country. Yet I think people are still very confused about what is femicide. And I think the media has got a very big role to play in unpacking it, explaining it to people, making people understand what is femicide, how much more bigger is the problem.
What would you say we should know about femicide and the facts around it, so that we are all educated and that we don't obfuscate what we're dealing with and the scale of the problem?
Right, so we should all understand there's always been a confusion about what is femicide. We all should understand femicide is the killing of women because they are a woman. Gender plays a very big role in women that are being killed by people who are close to them. Mm-hmm. So I think some people talk about gender killing, some people talk about understanding femicide to be only when you're killed by a partner. Femicide is all killing of women, and it's most commonly because we are women. So we need to understand that. Then we need to understand the scale of the problem. And then we also do need to understand that there are certain groups that are at greater risk of being killed by a male. These are people like sex workers, people within the LGBTQI community are at greater risk. And so there should be a public campaign, not just information that's provided and we forget about it, or just during the 16 days of activism. It should be a concerted, effective campaign, a campaign where the private sector comes in and bring their skills in around how to make a campaign effective. Where all of us understand it.
I must ask you this, because you at some point spoke about a racial lens in how we view certain victims of femicide and gender-based violence. You said studies showed in 2011 that only certain victims were reported in the media. Then you said it was largely cases of elderly white women, or generally white women. Is it in such a way that there is more empathy for a certain sector of society and therefore considered newsworthy, and certain women in certain sectors of societies, or should I say communities, it's almost seen as something that happens usually and is not newsworthy?
That is correct, Chapiso. So the newsworthy ones are the ones where it's gruesome murders usually, and it is high profile, people that are known in social media. It is people that are worthy of news, people who are worthy of being reported on. So the women who were found on the side of the road, the sex worker who were killed, the poor woman, they are not reported in the news. They do not come up. We should have a monitoring of all women killed in our country on a daily basis. These cases should be monitored. Somebody with expertise and with guide and monitor and manage that investigation to make sure that every single woman that are killed in the country gets the same level of investigation. In the same way, protection as well. You just talked about the large number of grievous bodily harm crimes that we saw in this last period. Those cases I call near femicides. They were nearly femicides. We don't understand how they were protected, how they eventually did not die, but they could have died. So we need to really be able to understand data very well in order to prevent it.
It's such a pity that we have run out of time. I wish we could have more time in future to really go into these very important, interesting points you're raising. Professor Naheemah Abrahams, Interim Director of the SAMRC's Gender and Health Research Unit. It's time now for your sports.